You're good.
We're good?
Oh, dang it.
We had a real high-scoring nail-biter on Monday night, and the whole league is feeling quite in parity with each other. Let's get to it. That stuff. And honestly, some of the new designs. The black and the Saints.
I've officially given up on Taysom Hill. I'm sorry. Welcome to the Chuck and Dave pod.
I'm Chuck.
I'm Dave.
Here's the pod.
Oh, yeah, that sucked.
Gotta say, I love your little scream during the intro.
What do you mean?
It was like, ah!
I think that's you laughing in the intro. I'm not 100%
Oh, is it?
sure.
I had not heard it in the other ones. I liked it.
I'm not 100% sure because that's a clip taken from me talking about how I'm giving up on Taysom Hill because you kind of goaded me into getting him. So
I think everybody should be going for Taysom Hill. The fact that he is not. I mean, all this talk about waiver claiming and he has not come up. I think Alex needs to recalibrate a little bit.
Probably. I mean, yeah, we can all hear that. That was Dave. Are you sure that was me? I'm not 100% sure. I guess I'd have to re-listen. It's been a while. So yeah, it's a weird week of fantasy, huh?
3 weeks we had some insane scoring, and we also had some pretty low scoring around the league. But I think the most interesting thing is what the standings look like right now.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Every single team is either 2-1 or 0-3.
3. Yeah. 6 teams at 2-1. 2 teams at 0-3. Pretty much we're all kind of ranked where we should based on our appropriate points for.
It's all exactly in order of points for. It really is.
Very strange.
And in a fairly rare occurrence, the most points for is also the most points against right now.
Yeah.
Which
is pretty, I mean, if you can if you can be on top and have the most points against, it shows your team is
because you really deserved it.
Yeah, you definitely have
it just seems like first so often that the most points against is some low scoring team down in the basement just getting kicked harder while they're down rather than a team that could actually fight it.
I mean, this is kind of a weird, but Chuck, you're the only one sub 300 in points against.
I definitely have been picking up the Joshua mantle a little bit here.
He seems to be picking up your mantle a little bit.
But if we can, just kind of like the Packers, honestly, if you can get some ugly wins while you try to smooth out the wrinkles, it buys you a little time.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
So we'll keep going. I won't apologize for it. But it is interesting. This is the first year we moved to a 6-team playoff. If this continues, there will still not be any drama for the last playoff spot.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think, man, I feel like North Shore and Fighting Fergles will break out of their slump eventually, but
eventually we'll get to that.
It's looking rough, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, nobody's going to go 0-14.
Maybe not.
The worst record we've ever had is Todd when he went 2-12. Would have been 2-12. I think was the worst record we've ever had.
2-12. That's pretty bad. Only winning 2 games is rough.
And that was, I mean, I don't think he never had a year where he was absent, but he sure had some years where he didn't seem to know what he was doing.
I think it was more of those first 2 years. He definitely was more of just, we asked him to join the league and he was just like, sure. And I'll just make sure my team's kind of checked in. He's not going to do any moves unless he absolutely has to. He's just going to make sure he has nobody on buys pretty much. Yeah. But
as opposed to the early years of Sam, when his team would just stay the same all year.
that is true. Wouldn't change him out. Wouldn't do anything. Those were always nice though. Like that really easy win late season. Like you're pretty much like guaranteed to like beat
Nice
up on
buy.
somebody. It was kind of fun.
I gotta say,
fun.
yeah. It seems as though Todd's emergence lines up with retirement.
Yeah, I think. He doesn't have a lot to do now, so he's been sitting around, kind of trolling the fantasy.
He's probably on there more than Alex, honestly.
I don't think so.
I
think Alex gives you a run for your money. Like that's
yes, he does. I'm sure Alex is on there more than me. I will absolutely guarantee it. I poke around a lot, but the level of whatever he's doing in his brain is a whole nother world that I don't want to be part of.
I mean, 11 moves already. You've
I just checked. It was
half of our of the winner, who was me. I got it right here, Wheeling and Dealing Award. I had 24 moves.
Yeah,
and you have 11 already.
Yeah, he is at 11. Is better than 3 teams altogether last year.
North Shore Nincompoops coming in at a solid 0 moves. Curious, Carol won the Never Wavering Award with 4 moves.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean...
And that was, I think, a record.
Probably.
For the lowest number of moves. But I don't have records for waiver moves going back too far.
All right, let's get into the games, huh? Shall we?
Yeah. Where would you like to start?
Let's start with the Tharsis Jackals finally meet
the headliner.
The headliner. Technically, my headliner was you.
Well, it wasn't the headliner, but it sure became the headliner post game.
Yes, it was.
It was. This one came down to Monday night, and I honestly thought it was a little odd that on Discord they were kind of. You had Josh conceding, I thought, early in that with like 6 minutes left in the game, saying, "Oh, it was a good run," and they were all patting each other on the back about how much fun it was. But I was like, "Come on now, it's still pretty close." And honestly, one more field goal out of the Bengals, and the Jackals,
he would have had it. Yep.
And honestly, McPherson was on fire. So everybody on his team was on fire. Both teams, everybody was on fire. I decided to dig into the stats a little bit because I was like, surely this has to be at least close to some sort of records with this kind of level of scoring. I was like, when was the last time? So the last time we even got close to that kind of scoring was back in 2020 when, get this, the Buck Stops Here beat McChicken Run 169 to 125.
60. What was it? 161?
169 to 125. So apparently Jordan is no stranger to these shootouts.
I'm assuming he beat me. I'm assuming.
Yeah, McChicken Run.
Darn.
But so I've got this one here, week 3, with a combined total score of 297.69, comes in as actually the 5th highest scoring combined game in the Yahoo era.
Really?
So number 4 was week 5 of 2019 when the good old days here, the Fox Point Ferrets took out the Blue Golds 188 to 117.
Oh, yikes.
So Sam did the heavy lifting on that one.
3.
Then number 3 was week 11 of 2018 when the Nina Nightmares defeated the Poning Polecats 177 to 140.
Wow.
Do you remember getting a 177?
No, not at all.
Well, to jog your memory back to 2018 there.
Man.
I think you were a champion that year, if I remember correctly. No, you weren't. I think that was Sam's champion year.
Was it Nina? I'm the Nina Nightmares?
Nina Nightmares, yeah. 317 combined. And then week 2 of 2018. 2018 had some really high-scoring games, surprisingly. The Fox Point Ferrets took out the Durban Giraffes 165 to 155.
Wow.
And then the highest point one ever was in week 5 of 2021 when the Suck Stops Here took out the nincompoops 163 to 158.
So has our scores just been getting a little lower every year? Like, have we actually like
Well, there was
felt like our scores have been like deflating?
I don't know. See, it felt last year like scores were on an all-time high.
Yeah.
But when it comes to both teams at the same time scoring that high, it's been a 2-year drought until this game. And there's only one other time when both teams have reached 140, and that was week 9 of 2018 when the Blue Golds beat the Swamp Men 148 to 146, almost the exact same game there. So there's only been 5 times that both teams have got to 140, and I believe 3 of them include either Jordan or Josh, so they're not strangers to these things. But that was interesting. I'm surprised that I don't have a stat for highest scoring combined game of each year. I need to fix that.
Yeah.
I also, just for the heck of it, went back to the 2010 season since it was there, and there was nothing even close. Most of those games were like 70 to 60.
Yeah, that's what
I think there was one that was like 35 to 42 or something.
Real skimpy on the scoring.
It's like actually going back to the 1920s of the NFL.
I was gonna say that we may not have been doing PPR back then. So
I have to say that you weren't on that.
I mean, it really wasn't a thing back then. But, 2010, like PPR really wasn't like something a lot of leagues did.
I think everybody generally likes higher numbers.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. So let's get into this, into the nitty gritty of this. I mean,
yeah, break it down. What are your thoughts?
I mean, both of them blowing away their projections. Like, I mean, they were pretty like. The projected winner won by about the same point margin as their actual score.
Yeah, I noted that the projected spread was 1.13 and the actual was 1.93. So you got to give credit to the Yahoo bots there. I don't even think Alex could find fault with how close that was.
Yeah. I do find it interesting. I was reading the recap. They gave the Tharsis Jackals, they gave Josh a C+. I'm like, how do you give a team that overshot by 37 points a C+? Because he lost? That's insane.
No, you can't give a guy that just for scoring that point total, even if that was less than his projection. You can't. That's like sometimes in the actual NFL, you have a game that nobody really loses. They just run out of time. And they've been going back and forth and back and forth. And you can't be like, oh, you had a bad game even though you lost.
See, like, this is the thing that bothers me is I'm reading it and it goes, it's a good thing Appalachian White Lightning came out on top because both teams' grades were less than stellar. There's this Jackals managed a disappointing C+, while the Appalachian White Lightning barely scraped by with an A-. I'm like, what?
So what's an A+? Like, because of your bench?
Maybe just because of the bench, but it's like
because he could have had 190, he was going to get.
Let's see.
Actually, I did make some notes on that. Actually, Jordan or Josh. Where did I put it here? Oops. I think I started writing out another page. I just got all carried away with my stuff there.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. I actually had to say that even though they scored insanely high, you still have to give the Jackals the worst bench of the week with Mostert on the bench.
Josh, you have the most unlucky. You've had the most unlucky bench lately. So you have literally been keeping points sitting on your bench.
Had he put in Moss and Mostert, he would have scored 190.
Man, that's a lot of stats, Josh. If you wanted to do an optimal lineup stat.
Actually, I did take a look this week because I was like, how close did we get? So if you go to players and you go to just week 3 stats and you activate everybody, you can pick out the top quarterback, 2 running backs. Really? And I did add that up and we were nowhere close. If somebody had the perfect lineup this week, it would have been like 330
points.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we were not that close to that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was insane. There was a lot of really high scoring players this week in the NFL. It was, I mean, obviously Miami did its part.
Yep.
In that. There were some kickers getting insane scores. There was the Bills defense got an insane score. There was just like some really individually high performances throughout the NFL.
Yep.
And chances of you having everybody are pretty low
Yeah.
on that. But yeah, obviously the Jackals have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to running backs right now. There's just no other way around that. They can't even start them all. So his bench is just routinely basically being a competitive.
I mean, honestly, Josh, reach out to Kara because if you want, like, she's struggling and we'll get to that later, but I think she's really struggling at the running back position. And having like even a Raheem Mostert, if you're going to keep him on your bench.
It was fun, I got to say, hearing a little bit of trade talk between the Destroyers and the Jackals. It didn't seem to turn into anything. I wanted an inside man to be giving us some deets.
I did get a little bit of deets. So just so you're aware, I did get a text from Alex.
We got our own Ian Rappaport here.
Yeah, I did get a text from Alex. This was back on Friday, and he asked, would you do this trade if you were me? And it was the Raheem Mostert for Chris Godwin. I didn't respond because I was at work, but I probably would have. I mean, obviously he should have. I mean, I think that's what he said in Discord that he should have. If he needs, the thing is what are your needs? Do you need a running back? If Raheem Mostert's going to sit on your bench, then trading Chris Godwin for Raheem Mostert isn't going to do anything. But if he's going to be a starter, Alex took too long. Yeah, he did.
I don't know though. I mean, for Alex, that's definitely a good deal. But Godwin putting up numbers even close to what Mostert's been doing.
No.
Now, if you're not using Mostert and you need a wide receiver, then sure. But
Josh probably will eventually need some wide receivers because Amari Cooper is not going to be a 21-point scoring machine like he was. It's just he hasn't, eventually the Browns are going to be.
Speaking of his running backs, once again, if the Jackals running backs, all 5 of them together, averaged 22.5 points each, and I think last week they averaged like 20 something. I don't know. Maybe the train won't stop. I don't know. On the White Lightning side, I question here. I wrote, are they true juggernauts at this point? They got Williams and Debo getting big rosters. If he had put Williams and Debo in, he would have scored 173. He put them on the bench. I don't know. He's always picking 149er to be on the bench.
It's true. Well, we saw what happened.
Yes.
We saw what happened with Sam last year when you pick. Eventually,
Sam didn't have Brock F and Purdy.
That's true. I mean, I think Tua is going to be solid. Devontae Adams isn't always going to get that production just because of the team he's on. Christian McCaffrey's almost.
He did lose Williams. He did lose Williams this week.
Yeah, that was a hurt.
Unfortunately, Williams was on his bench. You couldn't even take this last gasp of points. He gave you 17 as he died, and yet wasting on the bench.
Aaron Jones is supposed to come back this week, so I'm assuming he'll get something.
Looks like Watson might be back too.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's worthy to putting in now because it seems like Dobbs is making quite a connection with.
But it was definitely a fun game. So
yeah, it was definitely good to watch.
Yeah, it's good.
What's next?
What do I got next? North Shore is still struggling to find their footing. So let's do a North Shore versus me.
I gotta say, my favorite part of this game was the recap called "My Fantasy Team Beats My Fantasy Team Showdown."
Oh yeah, that is because we are the 2 fantasy teams that
absolutely potty mouthed.
Wait, so I had 126.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan got 148 or 49.
Mm-hmm.
And I got an A on my recap, and
probably because your projection was 97.
A minus. I mean, yeah, but that's still only like another 30 some over. I mean, yeah.
Your bench was pretty
definitely bare. Yeah. Just saying.
So basically, the Nincompoops have their third straight loss in which they were the favored team. Which I don't know. I don't have stats going back for that, but that's got to be something.
Yeah.
His luck has just been terrible, but he did finally top 100 points.
He did finally top, but he's still underachieved. This is the third week in a row where he is completely underachieved.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know why, because like on paper, his team is not 0-3 worthy.
No. I mean, he had an A draft rank. Josh Allen, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, and DeAndre Swift should be powerhouses. He should be mowing over people.
And yet he continues just wasting away. I don't know. It'd be interesting to get him on and get his side of things. Maybe we'll interview him.
I mean, like for me, Buffalo scoring 33 points, Buffalo's defense, not always going to happen. I mean, that's
no, but it seems like every week he's playing someone who's getting all the lucky little breaks and he's getting all the little unlucky breaks.
I mean, still Justin Jefferson scoring 23, Josh Allen scoring 21.
AJ Brown, even getting these solid points, the rest of his team is dragging him down enough. Like if you look at his numbers, they're good other than the kicker, flex, and really the kicker and the flex.
Yeah.
Everything else is solid enough. I mean, I guess ideally a running back that in this RB1 would get better than 10, but.
Sorry, this is a late comment. I did not read this. Chuck said it at the draft, avoid Mike Williams. Ooh.
I did.
It's true.
Not because he's an injury prone guy. Normally in the past, he's just not done very well.
Yeah, it was a good showing for my team. I mean, I'm almost always been going to most of the analytics have been saying I'm getting sub 100 and I've been getting over 100. So my hope is that my team is better than it says on paper.
I do feel like Yahoo doesn't like your team for some reason.
No.
I don't know why. But yeah, I just wrote them, the McRibs have had a very respectable day. Anytime you top 120, you're more than likely going to win. So.
Yeah. I think I am going to have to do some major roster changes, moves. I need to either somebody to come out or some breakout player in order to be championship worthy. Otherwise, I'm just like a middle of the pack kind of guy.
Yeah, you're not, you're weak in your tight end. And obviously Garrett Wilson is not the player you drafted him to be.
No.
Unfortunately.
Anybody wants to trade?
No, maybe once Simeon gets in there, he will.
Maybe.
It's a couple weeks for him to get up on the playbook, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We will see.
Next up, another rough game. Fighting Fergals. Doge, good game by the Doge Destroyers. Good game by Alex.
Good game.
Kara's really, and you know what? I said it on draft day, and I said Kara's going to have a really tough road. Her team, even though it was rated as like an A+, I said like her team is not a powerhouse team.
Yeah, I think if there was one team that we were all kind of like, that doesn't look great on paper, it was hers.
Yeah. I mean, her top three people, Mahomes, Stephon Diggs, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, solid. After that, her team is like, I mean, if I were her, get rid of T. Higgins. He has been absolutely doing nothing.
I think she had him last year. T. Higgins has never done anything.
No, and Jamar Chase is getting all of it, but as soon as she put T. Higgins on the bench. But the problem is she doesn't really have much to go to. I guess this week it could have been Marquise Brown, but
I mean, and again, she lost Dobbins, who probably would have been a good fourth player. Mm-hmm. Breece Hall, I'm sure, would be doing better if you had Aaron Rodgers.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So, she's had some bad luck there. But, yeah, I don't know. I'd give anybody else a chance other than Higgins, probably.
Yeah, I think getting into some, maybe finding somebody on the waivers that's going to be an emerging star. She needs to be looking out for that.
She's spent the most prime waiver weeks not doing anything.
I know, but you have those emerging stars that start to come up in 4 or 5, like Dameon Pierce's and stuff like that.
But if she doesn't start moving in the next 2 or 3 weeks, she's going to be left with just unless there's some other injury that happens later and some guy pops up like whatever, but it's going to be harder too.
And I'm telling you right now, remember what I said. Who should Kara's keeper be? Should it be Patrick Mahomes? No. I said ETN. And who did she get burned by this week? ETN. I was like, Patrick Mahomes has really struggled throughout the first part of the season, and he's going to get better, and he's going to get more into this 25. But he played the Bears defense. They scored 41 points, and he only scored 25 points. You can tell that offense it's not running on Patrick Mahomes alone anymore. So he's becoming like a middle-of-the-pack quarterback who's going to put up like your classic 20 points. Which
he's still more than middle of the pack in real life.
Which again, Kirk Cousins on Minnesota, which Alex picked up, scored. He was sitting on the bench or sitting on the waivers.
I would agree with Eat My Livers here. The absolute best keeper is a low-round, high-quality running back because that allows you to pick up basically 3 really high-quality players, especially if you're in the first four of the picks. Yeah. You're going to be able to pick up 3 really, really strong guys. Part of me this year is kind of debated. I think Hurts was dumb. Maybe I shouldn't have kept a quarterback. The bright line there is that Barkley hasn't really done much yet, so I haven't really lost out. Maybe St. Brown would have been a good choice, but I think it also hurt me, picking 8th.
But she is. But I'm telling you, Josh, she's really hungry for some good quality running backs because right now her running backs are Javonte Williams, which when you're down 70 points, he basically becomes a non-factor. Gus Edwards, who really hasn't done much in Dobbins' stead because now Lamar's found his legs and he's running 120 yards a game. So she needs a Raheem Mostert. She needs a quality running back. I don't know what she would do for a running back and what she would want to pick off of your team or what you would want to pick off of her team.
That's probably the bigger question there. Who is tradable? Higgins?
The thing is, are you going to trade a Raheem Mostert for T. Higgins? Because she's not going to trade away any of her top 3s.
The only players that she really has that would be...
She could trade away draft picks. You could trade draft picks.
You have to trade a player, I'm pretty sure.
You can't just trade for draft picks?
I don't know if you can.
That'd be a good tanking idea. Just sell your team off.
You just take 8 more draft picks. What would you do with extra? You're not allowed to.
But think about it. If you could trade your entire quality players for high-ranking draft picks, you could fill your entire team by round 7.
But remember,
think about the defense, the quarterback,
But you have to give away draft picks. It won't let you have more than 15. Because when we tried to do that trade last year,
you'd start with your 14th round. Then
you could end up with all 15 of your picks are in the first 7 rounds.
Yeah, that'd be phenomenal. I want to see that. I really do.
The tank gate gears are spinning. Dave is wishing that his team was sucking right now. Now, who are you going to get to trade you all those draft picks? Though? Who's going to trade their first round draft pick for whatever's on her team?
I think you could trade a first round pick for Diggs or Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Until one of them tears their ACL in week 17 is going to be out.
Yeah. Those two, Mahomes would be worth a 4th or 5th round. If somebody's really hard up for a quarterback, if all of a sudden Lamar gets hurt, I'd trade a 4th or 5th round.
I will tell you right now, I don't think Kara would trade Mahomes for a first round.
No, she wouldn't, because it's the heart of her team. It's the heart of her team.
Yeah.
But
play the cards.
Anyway, we digress.
Yes, I had a couple other thoughts here, I guess. Interesting stat on the Fergals. Not one of her skill players scored a touchdown.
You're right. Mm-hmm. Not a single, except for obviously quarterback, but yeah.
Yeah, I meant wide receiver, tight end, flex, running back.
Wow.
Yeah. My question for the Destroyers. You're so concerned with this waiver order, yet you lowered yourself to pick up Ford and left him on the bench to put up big numbers.
Yeah.
Why?
Ford being
Why
sitting
did
on the
you
bench.
give up something that is clearly so precious to you for him just to put him on the bench?
That is truth. Yeah, for those who don't know, Alex and Chuck have had some pretty not heated arguments, but some pretty like diverse conversation about this whole waiver wire thing. In my mind, I'm like, I don't care about waivers. Like, who cares about your waiver order?
He just doesn't. I don't know. I wanted to ask that too. Like, okay, so because you're number 7 instead of number 4, you're going to change who you're going to try to take? Like, you still want the best player.
Seems like every other day he kind of forgets where the waiver order is. On the app, on the desktop, he can't find it.
Yep.
This is a guy who works with computers every day, and he's like the grandma of the group, asking how he can, like, how do I change my team, guys? How do I put somebody on IR? How do I look at the waiver wire?
Yeah. Yeah. So I just thought that was kind of.
Alex got to poke the bear a little bit. No pun intended.
All right, we got one game left. And it was Dave's predicted game of the week. And you know what? Sometimes Fox whiffs on it too. I mean, we got the Jets Sunday night. I'm sure all America's excited for that matchup.
Oh, so excited for that.
So it did not pan out very high. And actually, to add insult to injury, the Polecats were at 105. And then early this morning, Yahoo, in its infinite wisdom, possibly Josh, decided to change the Jacksonville defense from -1 to -4.
It must have been something about the points allowed. Like they originally had credited him towards the defense, and then actually it was the offense.
I don't know exactly. I was like, holy crap, if that's enough. You know, it wasn't far off from being enough to switch the game.
No,
one of these days that's going to happen. So the Polecats have developed a Josh Worthy points against luck. None of my opponents have scored 100 yet. My points against is 24 below the next closest and 61 below the league average.
Wow.
So hopefully that continues. Makes it a little
it makes it a little easier.
If one year I get the champion by scoring the most points and the next year I can be champion by having no one score against me, I don't care. I'll take it.
Yeah.
All of this while the Polecats are only 6th in scoring. We have not been putting up impressive numbers by any means, including a massive problem on defense. I believe the Polecats are currently averaging 3 points a game on defense.
Wow.
So been really missing it there.
Might be time to switch out Jacksonville.
I did. I had Baltimore for the first 2 weeks, and then I switched to Jacksonville because it was supposed to be great against Houston. That's the reason
Houston's been playing really crappy.
That's the reason I didn't put a claim in on Kansas City, because I was like, even if they're gone, Jacksonville will be great. So that didn't work, clearly. Meanwhile, the Bulldogs put up their first big stinker of the year after 2 weeks of 100 plus, only 98 points. I don't know, it just evaporated. And yet his combo of kickers is still astounding.
Yeah.
He's guaranteed to put you a solid 15 points on your bench by carrying that second kicker.
It is insane.
I think he needs to talk to Josh about allowing kickers in the flex.
Ooh, that'd be good.
I mean, how many people would actually use that?
I mean, like, it'd be tempting if you had like some solid kickers.
It's just hard to know with kickers. They're so fluctuating, but you just need a team that gets within field goal range but can't score.
Pretty much.
Which it looks like the Bengals are this year, I guess. So
yeah,
congrats on that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't personally see the Bulldogs staying down long. I think this was a fluke having this week.
Yeah, I mean, he had some rough, like Matthew Stafford or Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence. Like honestly, like he has 3 quarterbacks and they all are playing pretty poopy.
Yeah, and actually I was surprised. I think even Monday morning he still had Joe Burrow in, and the news was making it sound like it was pretty well set that he was going to play, and yet he still switched to Stafford.
I mean, I had a little bit of conversation with him, and I told him to pick up Stafford just in case.
I mean, Stafford still beat Joe Burrow, so it wasn't a bad.
I'm just curious though, because I was having a conversation with him about. I do want to check one stat real quick because I was having a conversation about should he pick up Matthew Stafford or should he pick up who else was on free agency last week? Hang on.
You were talking to him before Monday night?
Yeah. This was Sunday it was Sunday afternoon. And I had told him to pick up Baker Mayfield or I said, you got to choose, but you got to pick up Matthew Stafford or Baker Mayfield. I'm curious if he would have picked up Baker Mayfield if he would have won. He would not have. He only scored 9 points.
So I guess he was going to get 9 no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave's not influencing rosters. Dave is merely the person people come to as the oracle.
Yeah. I got people asking me for advice, Josh.
If you notice, Alex keeps making choices, but he's not consulting Dave other than on the trade.
And it hurts him.
It hurts him. But yeah, he really got hit with the Devontae Smith getting only 5. The Dallas defense, after 2 weeks of getting insane amounts of points, puts up a 1.
Yeah.
Against Arizona, nobody would have thought that. But just one of those weeks for him. I don't think it's an indictment on his team at all.
Yeah. I mean, and you really couldn't. Neither of you could have really done anything to change your luck putting certain people on your bench. I mean,
I don't. It's just every week something happens. Derrick Henry puts up 2. Okay, that's great.
I am kind of surprised. Oh, never mind. That's not Robinson. It's Brian Robinson.
Yeah, I was feeling really comfortable with Josh Kelly this week because I was like, all right, he did poorly against the better team, but Minnesota, everyone's like, oh, they're Steve. He's going to be fine. Knife through butter. No, he's still. I guess Josh Kelly just sucks. And then Nakua, for some reason, decides this is a good week to not have 25 receptions.
Yes.
It just everybody just kind of went, and then obviously Jacksonville was terrible. I don't know. I think my problem is I can't get my running backs figured out.
Huh?
So maybe I should be talking to Josh.
Josh, the high commodity running back owner.
I'll flip him Hopkins. There you go.
There you go. DK Metcalf.
Or Higbee. Does he need a tight end? Higbee's fairly solid.
I need a tight end, dude. I'll trade a tight end.
You got a good running back?
That's sitting on my bench
Pierce?
that I'm not doing anything with. I mean, you don't want Pierce? Come on, man. Have my keeper.
I do like to take other people's keepers.
I'm not giving you Eckler, even though he's done nothing for me.
I'll trade you Josh Kelly for Eckler.
No way.
All right.
What's
next up here? We got a sponsor this week?
Yeah, we do have a sponsor. This week is brought to you by the SNGA Pro Tour. This week, we are proud to be sponsored by the SNGA Pro Tour. You can catch the SNGA Pro Tour this weekend at beautiful Chippewa Moraine State Recreational Area, overlooking a crystal clear town line lake. We were actually able to catch a few moments alone with last year's champ, who is excitingly joining this tournament yet again. We asked him if he was nervous about defending this year's title, and he responded, not really. Both of my fellow competitors are good men that will definitely make it difficult, but I believe I'll come out on top. We also asked him which of his competitors will give him the greatest challenge. And he responded with, Chuck is a fiercely competitive, but he usually collapses sometime around the second day. And Sam, on the other hand, is very scary because his mental game is always on point and nothing really shakes his confidence. But if I can stay composed, even when the underbrush gets thick on the dreaded toilet hole, I think I'll take home the coveted golden paddle. If you guys look to the north around 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on Saturday, you can watch for a play-by-play smoke signal as we kick off another year of the SNEGA Pro Tour.
I love it. I'll tell you what. I think last year fell into a pretty massive hole, and somehow through his calm demeanor, clawed his way back to losing by just 2 strokes.
It's insane. It was insane.
I remember that kid is unflappable, and that's why I have faith in the nincompoop still.
It was insane. It truly is.
If there was a man I wanted piloting my plane while it was going down, it would be him.
That's true. But
well, thank you, SNEGA. We certainly look forward to all that smoky action.
Yeah. All right. Okay, let's look at this week's matchups, shall we?
Yeah. I got to say, it hit me this week, and I'll kind of hit a few as we go through them, but there seems to be some point chasing going on, which I have certainly done in the past, but I've tried to, the last couple of years, avoid. I try to make a player prove it a little bit. That's why I kind of waited on Nakua.
Like, what do you mean point chasing?
Point chasing is that when you have a guy who's been like not particularly spectacular, but then puts up massive eye-popping numbers, you're like, okay, grab that. He's going to replicate that.
Oh, okay, sure.
Maybe like a Kane.
Okay.
Something like that. And so the problem is that they don't replicate it because the Dolphins are not going to put up so many plays and yards and touchdowns that all their running backs can score ever again for probably 50 years. So these numbers are unsustainable. Now, it doesn't mean if you got a guy that you're willing to dump, I guess you can stash him and put him in there. But there's just a couple of instances going on there, I think, of some point chasing, which maybe it will work out. Sometimes it can, but it can be hard to do.
Sure.
So where should we start with our look ahead?
It doesn't matter to me.
Well, the first one I have, I believe, is the Polecats versus the Destroyers.
All right, let's start there.
So we got a lot of 2-1. I think we have 2 2-1s against each other, and then obviously 2 2-1 versus 0-3s.
Mm-hmm.
Which honestly, at this point, I'd like them to stay winless until they play each other. That would be terrific. But actually, before we start this, look at how did we do last year with our pick'ems last week?
So pick'ems, pretty across the board, fairly like. So, Chuck, you got 3-1. You got 3 wins. You picked right on yourself, myself, and Jordan. Jordan also picked 3, the exact same 3, by the way. And I believe Alex got 3, but he got Alex, Chuck, and me. And then missed out on Jordan's. Josh, our reigning lead right now, he only got 2. And then Kara, myself, and Todd only got 1 right. And that was Chuck's, pretty much. We all picked,
I do.
Nope.
I know there are no moral.
We all picked Jordan.
But Kara had to feel good about. Kara had to feel good about having so many people pick her last week.
Yeah, I think everybody was expecting her to finally break out, and it didn't happen again.
All right, we got the Polecats versus the Destroyers. A little bit of point chasing here. So the Destroyers picked up Laporta for tight end, and I considered, I was actually looking for him today as just looking at maybe picking him up as my backup tight end for Kelsey. So he scores 7, 8, and then 21. And now Alex has him in his team. Is he going to score that against Green Bay? I don't know.
No.
Alex is obviously hoping. So I don't think so. Usually tight ends don't put up 21 points 2 weeks in a row. Also, he put him on the bench, or he put Mark Andrews on the bench for him. Now, Andrews hasn't exactly been lighting things on fire, but he's probably a more reliable option than a kind of random one-offer. But we'll see. I'm sure Alex will change his mind.
Alex is definitely, I will say, if you want to talk about point chasing, Alex is definitely the king of point chasing. As soon as somebody puts up like 15 plus, he's going to pick him up or try to pick him up.
I said the Destroyers have been very solid. They're averaging 111 points per game. But, and part of it's just the way Alex does his team and the Destroyers. I feel like the team is like a 50-50 chance of his players on the bench being the ones he should have had in the active slot.
Yeah.
And we'll just see. I mean, and that's a tough situation to be in as a team owner, who you're going to put in when they're all so close together. Somebody's going to do well, and you don't want them on the bench, but it's impossible to know.
I am actually kind of surprised that ETN is sitting on the bench.
I was very shocked that he benched ETN for Ford, who he had benched last week after giving up a waiver.
Or because Ford has 2 weeks of pretty solid numbers, but Alexander Madison is not somebody that has really been like lighting it up. So I'm like, why is Alexander Madison in?
It's possible that Barkley will be needing to be benched again, and then you'll put ETN back in. But it's a little odd to see him on the bench right now. I agree. But the Polecats have only been averaging 103 points and have been cashing in on a lot of luck. So if they don't start to perform, at some point, it's going to be some pain. I do get Kamara back now. So he's going to be a little bit of a wild card. Will he be able to slot in? Obviously, the Williams being injured in Saints makes it a little less of a timeshare, probably. I don't think they really had anybody emerge that was going to be like a replacement for Kamara.
Well, and Derek Carr is probably going to be out for a bit. So
they may lean on him as a check down and running guy for Winston. It's not like Winston's a stranger to the Saints, so he won't be totally out of it, but that's going to be a bit of a wild card. The Polecats desperately need him to become a running back that's a worthy starter on a weekly basis. And then again, the defense thing has been pretty awful. I'm trying out Pittsburgh this week. I was really debating between Pittsburgh or Cleveland.
Pittsburgh has been doing all right.
Pittsburgh is pretty solid every week, and they're going against Houston, which did not work out for me last week. But I think Pittsburgh is going to be a little better disciplined team than the Jacksonville.
Yeah. Oh, you're going up against the same offense. Your defense is going up against the same offense. Interesting.
Yes. So I wrote at the end, I think honestly, looking at this game right now, you look at the projection is pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of a coin flip game, so I'm picking myself.
I also picked you.
Ooh.
I put your.
Also, thank you to all those who picked me over the Bulldogs last week when it didn't look like.
That was you, Jordan, Alex, and Josh. It was not me.
It was not.
It was not me. But again, that was a close game as well. So next, let's do the Fighting Fergals. This is another
Bulldogs versus the Fergals, 2-1 versus 0-3.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a very lopsided projection right now. A little less than it was earlier. She was not projected to be at 100 even when I was looking, but
I think. Yeah, not having Breece Hall in is probably a good bet just because I could see the Jets getting down very quickly against Kansas City, and then he becomes obsolete. Marquise Brown against San Francisco is a good play, not play because he's not going to do anything.
I'm not sure I would start New England defense over Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philadelphia's defense is going to play really well against Washington. I would.
They've been very strong. Otherwise, there's really not much she could switch out. If she could maybe find anyone other than T. Higgins.
Yeah.
There's going to be somebody that she could grab off the waivers for a flex position.
There's people. I would.
So it's a lot of protection. I think the Bulldogs aren't going to stay down long for 2 in a row. I don't know. I would love the Fergals to get a win, but on paper, they just look to be the inferior team. So I got to pick the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I picked Kara because I think I've picked Kara every time. Oh, except for the first week. And she's not going to be 0-3 forever. So eventually she will. It's one of those things where a clock is right twice a day. A broken clock is right twice a day. So Kara's not going to go 0-14. So eventually I will profit off of picking her.
Yeah,
All right. Let's do the other 0-3 team. That's the Nincompoops versus the Tharsis Jackals. This is actually very surprising that Josh is picked to lose against the North Shore Nincompoops, especially how well he's been doing.
Well, it's an interesting thing because Sam has lost all 3 of his games from the favored position like he is right now. I think he should maybe bench a couple guys so that he becomes the underdog and maybe has a little
somehow
better
has
chance.
a better chance.
Yeah. Here's my thought on this one. A little more point chasing. We got the Jackals picking up a cane.
That's huge point chasing. I'm sorry, Josh. Really? The guy scored 0 points in the first game, 1.7 points in the second game, and it happened to pick 57 points. There's no way on earth he's ever going to come close to that.
I did see his name on some waiver pickups because they were like, oh, he's so great. Now, I just don't see the trend there yet for that. But, smart people pick it up first. I thought it was weird that he went after him just to sit on the bench. I'm assuming he's waiting for a cane to prove himself. I did write down here that the Jackals are mirroring Sam's approach to running backs from last year, except he's keeping the Miami running back room on the bench.
He has the Miami running back room and a wide receiver.
But at least it's wide receivers.
I think, Josh, you should probably just trade your team.
Oh, wait, no, the wide receiver's on the bench too.
You should.
He's got 3 starters.
Josh,
3 players.
Josh, I really do think. Here's your strategy. Trade for Tua. Trade Jordan for Tua. I would trade away maybe Herbert or somebody else for Tua, and then you got to go and get what's his face? Tyreek from Alex. So you probably have to trade away quite a bit of your team for Tyreek, and then you can just live and die by the Miami Dolphins.
Actually, here's a great one. For the rematch between the White Lightning and the Jackals, I would like it to just be the 49ers offense versus the Miami offense.
That'd be a fun one.
That would be a very fun one to watch.
Yeah, you did do that during your Miami Fire Ant days. Jordan then just picked all Packers. You guys didn't win a lot.
That's one of the best strategies. Pick everyone from the same team. I thought that Jackals were also chasing a little bit with New Orleans on the defense. They had a good score last week with 13 against the Packers, but now they're versus the Bucks, and he got rid of the Seattle, who's playing the Giants. I don't really fully see why he did that unless he looked at that number and was like, I got to have that. Because I just feel like Seattle's probably going to have a better time against the Giants than the Saints against the Bucks, but I don't know. Maybe division games are tougher.
I mean, maybe he just likes that southern Florida panhandle, Louisiana.
He's going for the South.
For the South. Yeah, he's got
Bijan
with Atlanta.
Why exactly do the Jackals have 7 running backs?
Yeah, I'm very curious about that, Josh. And you have a running back on IR. Are you including?
I counted
Jonathan Taylor. 7 running backs, Josh.
7
running backs. I think he's basically saying somebody trade them because he doesn't want to drop them because they are high. They're good. They're good. Mid-level, high tier running backs.
He got too many running backs, but someone's got to trade. Maybe I'll try. We'll see.
I don't know.
Can Sam win?
Drop Zach. I'm assuming he drops Zach Moss as soon as Jonathan Taylor comes back.
He would have to drop someone to make room for Taylor, but we don't know if he'll be back. Can Sam win, though? He's currently favored again. These teams look very close on paper. I think the projections are very close right now.
2 points.
It's tough. My thought is kind of like you for the Fergals. I feel like Sam's team has to stop so drastically underperforming some point, so I might as well keep picking him. So I'm going to pick the Nincompoops.
That's exactly what I did with Sam. I really do think Sam's team has underachieved every week, and eventually he's going to not underachieve.
His team is
And
not.
Josh's team, on the other hand, has been overachieving for the last couple of weeks, and I think eventually he's going to stop overachieving.
Yeah, it's just Sam's team is not an 0-3 team. I wouldn't expect him to suddenly rattle off wins the rest of the season and be the champion with his team, but I think he should be able to be potentially a top 4 team.
Running backs win championships. That's what Josh says.
But still don't get paid.
And Josh is going to have a new D every week, apparently.
I like it.
But yeah, that'd be a fun strategy.
I often trade Ds based on who they're playing.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
All right, so it should be a pretty
Dave and Chuck have yet to pick you in the league pick'em. That is true.
Well, you said you like that, though.
Josh thrives in when people don't trust him.
Yeah, but okay. If Sam wins this one, we're 50-50, so.
It's true.
It looks like a good week of games coming up. We got
hey, we still got mine. We
didn't do the last one yet? Oh gosh, sorry.
It's like one of the biggest, it's the biggest point spread for projection.
Yeah, I just overlooked it, I overlooked it.
I'm the only one now that's not even, I don't even know how they're projecting me only at 93 points. Like, that's insane.
That's what I was saying earlier when I said I think Yahoo does not like your team. Like, there's some reason I think your team's going to suck.
Buffalo now granted, they're playing Miami, but Buffalo only slotted to get 5 points. It just seems.
Well, you know what? You know your team. You don't need Yahoo to tell you who they're going to
Well, okay, so a big factor is Austin Eckler. If he can finally play, that's a total game changer. Damian Pierce.
He was your first round pick?
Yeah. No. My first round pick was Garrett Wilson, and he has done absolutely nothing.
So both 2-1. The projections don't like the pleasure
No.
I put. But can they overreach enough to beat the White Lightning's 128-point average?
I don't even think I picked myself on this one, but I'm not.
115 is the lowest that the White Lightning have scored so far, and 126 is the most the McRibs have scored. Here's what I thought, though. If Miami does recede and the 49ers have trouble with the Dallas D like Arizona does, I think it could be Dave's game. But I'm going to pick the Lightning.
Yeah, I picked the Lightning. I picked against myself. It's going to take some almost divine intervention for me to be to lose this game.
Yeah. Now, of course, that can happen. We saw the Bulldogs kind of collapse last week.
I mean, it can happen. It's not impossible. It's just, I'm going to have Eckler. Eckler will have to he's going to have to, which is going to be really tough because of the way this weekend is scheduled, or because of the way this weekend works, Chuck. I have to make a decision on Friday by 9 o'clock in the morning. I have to decide if I think Eckler is going to be in or not.
It's about the trust fall.
So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
I mean, maybe we'll have good reception up there.
I doubt it.
It's possible.
I don't think we've ever had a good, and usually my phone.
I thought last year we had pretty good reception.
But that felt like it was more in a civilized area. There was more around us. This feels like it's kind of like a wilderness area.
That's true. Well, I want to give us an updated power ranking. I missed last week.
Yeah.
So some things have really shifted around. And actually looking back at the original one, looks a bit comical now compared to how things have been going. So I have moved the Fighting Fergals down 2 to 8th. They just have a lot of holes to address before they start gaining my trust. I also dropped the Nincompoops down 4. I don't think their team is necessarily worthy of the 7, but until they can finally start showing it, I got them at 7. I did move the Polecats up 2 to 6th, which is where they are in the standings. I dropped the McRibs down 3 to 5th. Maybe I'm just getting rubbed off by Yahoo on that one. But I kept the Destroyers in 4th. Now, the Destroyers and McRibs, I really could have flipped. I feel like your teams are very similar in points for and how they're put together right now. I moved the Jackals up 2 to 3rd. I did drop the Bulldogs the second. I'm not ready to hit a panic button on them. I think they're still a stronger team altogether than the Jackals. But I did move the White Lightning all the way up 6 places. I had them 7th after the first game. I moved them up to first place because it just seems like nothing can stop that freight train right now. Point chasing. Yes, I am. 3 weeks of points are what I'm chasing.
Yeah. No, that's good. So, I mean, I don't think I disagree with anything you said. So,
yeah.
I'd actually.
Well, yeah. What would you say?
I said I think I actually would rank myself slightly lower, only because I'm not sure how sustainable my team is.
You'd put yourself below the Polecats?
Because I think you have more potential. I feel like I'm like maxed out at potential, and like I feel like I've been I feel like I've joshed my way into the top 4, and it's like I've been very lucky. Not that I'm like saying like I definitely have.
You had a very solid score though this last week. You had a very solid score.
Agreed. But I actually was surprised at that score. And when you're surprised at the score and not being like, oh man, like, yeah, that's how much I should be scoring. It was like, holy crap, I scored that many points. That's like kind of reaching the ceiling. But
all right.
Yeah. It's all right.
Do you got any football thoughts to finish things?
You know, not really. Most of my mental energy this week is settling myself for a very long weekend of SNE action. So
getting ready.
For those who don't know, and I mean, this is kind of an inside joke between Sam, Chuck, and myself. SNE is a game that Chuck and I and Sam play in the Northwoods once a year. Most years. There's been some years where we haven't been able to meet, but we've having a Josh season. Anyway, the SNE is a game that Chuck and Sam and I play up in the Northwoods, where it's kind of like a mini golf with some kind of made up rules, but
you make your own holes in the woods. Yep. And you.
Yeah, and it's something that my grandfather invented when he used to go to the Quetico and Boundary Waters, and then we kind of adopted it and added our own flair. You know, him and his buddies would dress up and do themes, and we're more about the pomp and circumstance of just like the spirit of competition. So a lot more with that. But it is very intense. It's usually played over 3 days or 2 days. But it can be a point where we're laughing and joking right before the action, and then it's like we don't talk to each other. And Chuck is slamming. No, you don't slam me. I slam the club into the ground, and Chuck just stops talking. When Sam gets quiet, when Sam's quiet pretty much the entire time, but when Sam gets really quiet, then you know he's struggling. But it was like one of our closest scores last year. I ended up coming out as the winner. Sam is the overall winner. He's won the most times out of the last,
always.
What is it, 15 years, 16 years?
Yeah.
I think Sam's won. I know I've won 3. Chuck has won 1, and Sam has won like 12. Well, I mean, there's probably 4 years, so he's probably won 8 times. So I think there's 4 years we didn't meet in that 16 years.
And if you would like the official rules or to get more information, you can send an email to sneegatour@gmail.com. That is the official.
Type it out.
Sneegatour
@gmail.com.
Yep.
You can see it on the.
We'll get you a starter kit.
See it on the there. sneegatour@gmail.com, and you will get
a real website.
You will get a SNE starter kit. We will mail you a SNE starter kit if you ask. And
we just want to spread the love of SNE.
So we will get you one. Or if you ever go to one of our campsites that we've ever camped at in the past, probably 3 years, you can find your own sneeze starter kit just sitting there.
Unless somebody's taking it.
Unless somebody has taken it, which would be great. But we have yet to hear anything from any of those little Easter eggs. So we're waiting. Our ears to the ground.
Yes, we are. I always get excited when I have an email in there, and then it turns out to be Google updating their terms of service.
That's...
Well, I think that's a terrific way to end. A nice shout out there.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well,
great week here, and may your players remain uninjured.
Yes. Let's hopefully no more injuries. Anyways, guys, see you later.